Retirement account ideation. Funds for my next peer-reviewed journal publication. Today is Sunday, 17 May 2026 AD. And here I, Tanis Shearhurst of Seattle, talk through an ideation for a particular of my retirement account funds for my next peer-reviewed journal publication. So I already have three, two in the 2010s decade, one in this 2020s decade. And what is the particular I'm invoking here for my retirement account? It's my employer for the funds that are in my retirement account. Who was my employer? Who was my institution? What was my institution that corresponded to? As the University of California, Berkeley, I was in a graduate programs on geophysics. And it was over 4.00 consecutive years. And so I've talked previously about publishing for my cardiology self-experimentation, taking and seeing about publishing those results and thinking of three, to kind of like get back into publishing and what do we have results for and that kind of thing. It was like three, small batch, yes, but I have three already, so like it's been over 5.00 consecutive years since the last one. So taking that reality into account and being like, slow and forwards progress. And so I was like, well, there's the counted number of publications, but there's also have with publication experience, I know through lived experience, not somebody telling me or reading it online, that it costs money to publish. And it can be quite pricey to publish. And so, especially if I want to publish, open access can be a chunk. And so, depending on the journal and stuff, and open access means that you could, it's available, right, for you, but the person who chooses to do that, the authors, the journals, that kind of thing, they may pay more to make it so. And so I was thinking through, so there's, if I have, a desktop audience for my aorta, which is I named my MacBook Neo aorta, inspired by my cardiology self-experimentation. So cardiology is the study of the heart. And so for me, that's the heart organ and the blood system. And if the desktop audience can view what I'm doing on my desktop, then I'd be writing these articles, crafting my single authored masterpieces that won't look like a masterpiece whatsoever during construction if they could view every single step, so to speak, or like every time I save it or whatever. So I get to work through that a little bit. And I was thinking, okay, and taking that into account as well, I was like, since it is cardiology self-experimentation, so it's on myself, I was like, of the three topics I brought up, I talked about doing blood pressure and blood glucose in tandem, and then I also talked about blood pressure history. So there's a little bit of learning for each. So blood pressure history might be more understandable in terms of history, and then the in tandem gives people something to kind of like watch and understand and me to talk about in these videos as well. Is like what it means to do two publications in tandem. Like, what does that even mean? Well, that we could find that out together, right? So there's something in that sense that they can focus on if they don't understand the research that's still, I hope, perhaps engaging. So there's that, and there's like, how about a particular for my retirement account funds? If I have any, like, would I put that towards this? And I was like, publishing can be costly. So if I have funds in my retirement account from my time with my employer is University of California, Berkeley, perhaps I can prioritize my peer-reviewed journals. So publishing can be costly. So I prioritize the approach of, if I have any funds left, okay, put it towards one of the publications. So like I put all of my money towards that from the retirement account. I have a new employer, like new retirement account, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a way of transitioning my life, but also then kind of like giving back to where I got the money from. For this one, since they're not an active employer, they don't get that affiliation on the paper. It's like, well, is there another way? There's like, if I have funds, right? So since I utilized the Berkeley Geochronology Center resources as part of my work/research at the University of California, Berkeley, perhaps I could prioritize the blood pressure history article and followed by blood pressure and blood glucose in tandem. And you go, what if you end up having a bunch of blood pressure history articles? I'm like, well, it starts with one, right? This is a batch of 3 that I've been talking about, and those are the topics of blood pressure history, blood pressure, and blood glucose for this prioritization approach of being like, yes, it starts with one. That one, it needs to be right. It needs to pass review. It needs to be published. Right? So no need, and I would need to do additional research for me. Another publication for me, there would need to be additional. Right? So there's that. But I was like, I was thinking about it, and that's an ideation I came with. If I have some left and I do go to publish, perhaps prioritize, and kind of as a way of like segueing my publishing career, so to speak, maybe use those funds. So there we go.